Handel and many other Baroque and earlier composers, but I feel too distant from the dominant mentality of pre-Enlightenment Europe to attempt the sort of mini-portrait that I will try to draw for each of the people represented in the following pages. In other cases, the reasons for my choices were practical. I excluded Chopin, Debussy, and Bartók, among others, in order not to exceed this volume's prescribed dimensions, and I wanted to avoid settling on one of the most often performed works of each composer. No Eine kleine Nachtmusik of Mozart, no Beethoven Ninth Symphony, about which, in any case, I had already written a book. No Schubert Unfinished Symphony, no Verdi Aida, no Stravinsky Firebird. Most of the pieces I chose are well known, but not all of them are necessarily works with which most music lovers will be familiar. Another important criterion was my wish to choose pieces in 10 different genres. Thus, there are works for various numbers of performers: 1. A piano sonata, 2. A song cycle for solo voice plus piano, 3. A piano-violin-cello trio, 4. A string quartet, 5. A string quintet, a symphony orchestra, and an orchestra plus one solo instrument. Also included are a religious work for orchestra, plus chorus and vocal soloists, an opera, and a composition that defies categorizing, although it is sometimes performed as an oratorio and sometimes as an opera. Many outstanding scholars have devoted their professional lives to the study of each of the composers discussed in the following chapters, and I am not attempting in any way to compete with their work. What I offer here is a glimpse of certain aspects of each of these 10 musicians, with emphasis on a specific work in each one's output. Descriptions of those works form the centerpieces of the various chapters. Since the choices I have made for this book are personal, I want to say a few things about myself. For me, and people like me, born into white, middle-class families in Middle America, in my case Cleveland, Ohio, in the middle of the 20th century, life seemed pretty good, on the whole, when we were children. Most of us did not experience war or famine, and our parents, whether they were white-collar or blue-collar workers, had jobs that paid at least enough to keep us housed, fed, clothed, and schooled. But in my early teens, just as I was beginning to question received opinions on religion, politics, race, and nearly everything else, and just as I was becoming aware of the Cold War and of the effects that a nuclear conflict would have on humanity, my desultory interest in piano lessons turned into a real passion for great music. My parents were encouraging, but they were not involved with music, and it was thanks to Maurice Wolfson, to whom this book is dedicated, a family friend and a violinist in the Cleveland Orchestra, that I was able, from the age of 12 onward, to attend the rehearsals and performances of that magnificent ensemble under its then music director, George Zell. Somehow, the simultaneous emotional and intellectual superimposition of art on all the other things that were rattling around in my brain created a sort of explosion in the adolescent me. At the time, I didn't recognize, let alone understand, this conjunction. I knew only that I needed great, complex music, that music spoke to me, personally and directly. Only in my late teens, when I came across Nietzsche's statement that beauty exists in order that we not perish through truth, did I grasp what had happened to me a few years earlier. Art provides, among much else, important methods for deceiving ourselves, for pretending that humanity counts for something in the cosmos, and for lightening and beautifying our awareness of our mortality. On the other hand, the most profound works of music, in particular, are complicated but direct communications that allow, or perhaps even constrain, our subconscious mind to explore our mortality. They are labyrinths in sound. This book begins with the elegantly inviting opening bar of Mozart's G major piano concerto and ends with the chilling Chord of Death of Stravinsky's Requiem Canticles. Yet I maintain that every one of these works, including those that bring us face to face with our existence's